Hello. So today I wanted to do a little bit of a FAQ around Summit Strength and specifically around the online Summit program. Now, if you haven't heard this week so far, this week I'm doing a big promotion around my online Summit program, which is my signature program for hikers. Now, specifically, I'm looking for no more than 10 hikers who essentially want to get strong and pain-free so they can conquer every adventure they come across. Now, this week I'm doing a big promotion around it, and what I find when I do these promotions, and particularly this week, I often have a few questions that do come up again and again and again and again, and they're really, really common questions. And today I just wanted to sort of go over them in a little bit of detail, just so if you were sort of thinking about, okay, is this thing going to be right for me? Is this something I want to learn a little bit more? Is this something I want to have a bit of a conversation about? But you're kind of hesitating, not quite sure. Hopefully this will give you a bit of insight into, a few common questions. Now, basically, I'm going to go through the 4 common questions I often get about this. Number 1, who is this for? Number 2, how long does it go for? Number 3, how much time do you need to commit for this particular program? And number 4, how much equipment do you need? So first of all, who is this for? Who is the Online Summit program for? Essentially, this program is really designed around 3 different types of hikers. Now, this program is always going to be individualized to the person and the individual, the situation, the goals they're aiming for. But as a general overview, this typically works for 3 types of hikers. Number 1, a hiker who tends to have bit of a bigger trip in their sights, whether it's a big trip in the calendar or bigger local hikes they want to step up to, and they're kind of concerned they're just not going to be ready. And while they might be doing, a little bit of training around, a little bit of physical preparation, they're not really sure whether the time and effort that they're investing is really going to be the best way to properly prepare for this particular type of challenge. And in the end, a lot of hikers are sort of in the mindset, look, worst comes to worst, I could probably scrape myself through these things if I really, really needed, but they're kind of worried that they're not actually going to be in a position where they can properly enjoy these experiences for what they are. And that's typically the first type of hiker that comes on board this program. Now, the second type of hiker on the other side of things tends to be hikers who struggle with some type of pain on the trail. So whether it's knee, back, foot, shin, or just general muscle pain. And they know, there's a bit of a limiting factor in their hiking, both in their enjoyment, but also sometimes in their confidence to tackle some of the more strenuous and challenging trips that they want to do. And then the third type of hiker, they tend to have sort of maybe a bit of a foot in either of those camps, but they may not actually be training for a massive adventure or a particularly big adventure, but they essentially just want to get in a better physical position so they can enjoy the local hiking and backpacking that they're doing at the moment and just get a little bit more out of it. So essentially, if you were looking at the Online Summit program and you fit into one of those 3 categories, more than likely it is going to be a good fit for you. If you are a hiker in a different situation, it's worth having a chat, but they typically are the big 3 that I work with. Now, the second question I wanted to cover today is how long does it go for? And this is a big question because obviously people have different timelines they're looking at, different trips they may be leading into. Now, the typical program begins and how it works is it typically begins as a 12-week package. And essentially during that time, we do everything we can to essentially get you fit, strong, as pain-free as possible for your hiking. Now, for a lot of hikers, what tends to happen at the end of those 12 weeks is we sort of sit down and we have a conversation. And on one side of things, you might be like, look, you know what? I've actually really enjoyed this process. It's gone really well. But right now, at the end of this 12 weeks, I'm exactly where I need to be. I've learned a lot. My body's feeling great. I've definitely improved my fitness and everything like that. And I'm fully prepared to go out and take all this information, take all the structure and take all this and go out just and apply it under my own steam. Now, on the other side of things, some people do get to the end of the 12 weeks and they're like, you know what? Actually, I really do enjoy this. I enjoy having the structure, I enjoy having the accountability, I enjoy having someone with me through this. And from there, we can talk about it, continue on a bit more of a longer term. So typically people begin with 12 weeks and then decide at the end of those 12 weeks whether they want to continue on or not. Now, for the people who are in a shorter time frame, they might only have 6, 7, 8 weeks before a trip. We can come up with a custom package. It's not ideal. I do like to have 12 weeks at least, but if you're in a short time frame, coming on for less is going to be coming on for none. So we can come up with a custom package for you. So question number 3 is, how much time do you need to commit to this type of thing to really see the best results? Now, this is sort of really comes down to the individual. And initially when you do sign up, you sort of tell me exactly how much time you realistically can think you can fit into your training. And essentially one of my big philosophies as a coach with all of this is really fitting the training around your life as opposed to you fitting your life around the training. Now, for a bit of a perspective, in some people going through the program, they've got all the time in the world. They're retired, they love training, they've got absolutely no issues, dedicating ages to training, and they're training literally 2 hours a day, every single day, almost. And they love it, and that's what they enjoy. But obviously that's not super realistic for some people. On the other side of things, I have a few people who've been super busy through the pandemic and other things, and they've literally only can fit in 3 15-minute sessions a week, and they're just making sure they can fit in, get the best use of that time as they go through. Typically, if you aren't at one of those ends of the extreme, typically what I recommend to hikers coming on board to get the best results is try to aim for about 3 45-minute sessions, and then maybe a hike or a longer walk, every couple of weeks or so. Typically, but again, we can adapt it around what may fit into your life, but that gives you a bit of a rough estimate there. And then the fourth question I wanted to cover is, what equipment do you need? Now, it's a big one. Typically, when it comes to training, you can do any of the training, whether it's at home, outdoors, or in the gym, whatever you prefer. If you are training at home, the only 2 pieces of equipment you 100% need is, number 1, a set of mini bands or TheraBands, which will cost you like $10 online. And number 2, just your hiking pack, which most hikers should have, whether it's a day pack or something bigger. Anything else you have lying around, we can definitely incorporate, but they're the only 2 things you 100% need. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight into around, a few common questions that I often hear from people around this particular program. And if you were sort of semi-considering it and wondering whether it might be for you, hopefully that has given you a bit of clarity on that front. Now, if you were in the situation where you're listening to this, you've been seeing all the content this week, you've been sort of thinking, actually, I feel like learning a little bit more. Essentially, I would absolutely love to chat with you and talk you through this. Now, you can either find me in 2 different areas. You can either shoot me a message, you can leave a comment below one of the posts if you are in the Facebook group, or you can flick me an email at rowan@summitstrength.com.au. And essentially, we can just have a little bit of a chat and just see, if and how the program might be a good fit for you, and if or how you might be a good fit for this particular program. Essentially, we never sort of sign people up without actually having a proper chat. So you're losing nothing if we literally just have a conversation and talk through things. But if you did find yourself fitting into any of those categories I was talking before, you want a little bit extra help upgrading your training, upgrading your hiking, or anything like that, I would absolutely love to hear from you. So I'd absolutely love if you could flick me a message or flick me an email or whatever it may be. So if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. Please do let me know, but hopefully this gave you a little bit of insight today. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.